Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'll be taking a look in the Soulforge and telling you what I think are the best weapons and troops to craft from there. Also be looking in the shop and giving you my opinion on this weekly new glory troop, Iron Blaster. Anyway, sometimes I tuck my knees into my chest and lean forward, but that's just how I roll. So bad, so bad. Anyway, Iron Blaster, let's take a look at this. Deals magic-based damage to an enemy, and if I have taken damage, enrage myself and gain barrier. So that's okay, nothing spectacular. The cool thing about that is if you have taken damage and you cast that, you're going to damage the enemy, get a barrier, and enrage itself, doing a lot more damage, and give yourself time to charge it up to do it again. So not fantastic, but not completely unusable. Enraged is really good. And it also becomes enraged when an enemy dies and reduces damage from skulls by 25%, making it somewhat viable in first place. So nothing fantastic, no great shakes, 5 out of 10. He's sitting on the super average shelf. As ever though, grab these up to level 20 if you can. Always good to have another troop you can take to the maximum level. This is going to help your power level kingdoms in the long run. Right, almost to here. You can also grab some Spoils of War if you've got enough glory. Take these to 10 if you can. A few more event keys, bit more gold, bit more souls, and loads more treasure maps you don't want. Flipping fantastic. Right, let's take a look in the Soulforge, see what we've got going on there today. Start with the weapons. Aegis of Erskaya. Remove all the brown gems. These are what I call the anti-Erskaya weapons. These kind of work against those troops from that kingdom or in that kingdom, because they take away the colour they like the most, which is brown in this case. So it doesn't use brown. Best to use this in a non-brown team on your side, because you do not want to be taking away gems which otherwise you may want for one of your team members. Then deals damage to an enemy boosted by those gems removed. If the enemy is from Erskaya, or if the battle is in Erskaya, deal double damage. So somewhat situational, but okay, and these are worth picking up because they're pretty cheap to craft, just 75 diamonds. That is really cool because some of your kingdoms are going to be locked by needing a certain amount of weapons fully powered up or fully upgraded, so a really good way to get a cheap weapon to get that job done. What else we got? Stone Sword, another cheap one. Deals magic-based damage to the first enemy and deal triple damage if they use blue mana. So pretty good against a blue team. You're going to be doing triple damage all the time. That is worth picking up, absolutely. Yeah, cheap as anything, and triple damage versus a blue team, very good indeed. Very handy if you're a newer player. What else we got? Razor Claw. Magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by Erskaya allies. Then create a mix of green, 6 green and brown gems for each Erskaya ally. Uses red and yellow, so not going to self-charge, so make sure you have a couple of other troops in your team that use green and brown to benefit from all that lovely mana generation. Same with Axe of the North, very similar kind of weapon, dealing a slightly less amount of damage to an enemy boosted by Erskaya allies. Then create a mix of 6 green and brown gems for each Erskaya ally. So similar, but same idea, make sure you use some green and brown troops in your team to benefit from that mana gen. Doomed Baton. I'm not so much a fan of these kind of doomed weapons. They're super situational. First of all, you need to get it powered up, which is hard enough on its own. Create 4 purple gems, which is not enough to make it effective. You're most likely going to set up the opposition. But plus 1 gem per tempering level means when this is fully powered up, it can be effective. It's going to be really good at generating loads of purple. Then gives magic plus 1 armor to all brown allies. If the enemy has a doom, eliminate all armor from a random enemy. So there's a lot going on there for that to be beneficial. If the enemy has a doom, that's the only way you're going to get that eliminate all armor from a random enemy. And if you've hit someone already or eliminated that armor, it can be stupid enough to try and take away that armor from that person as well. So it can fail in that way. It does use brown itself, obviously, but it creates purple gems. So you need to use other purple allies, obviously, to make use of that mana gen, and at the same time ideally using brown at the same time because you want to benefit from the spell of given armor. So a lot going on with that to make it work properly. Erskine Cleaver. Love these weapons. Explode magic +1 brown gems. Grants a random status effect to all Urska allies. Then summons a Urska troop. So managing, status effects, and a summon. Very good indeed. Do love these kind of weapons. Is that your lot? Yes, it is. Right, let's take a look at the troops then. Start at the bottom and work our way up. As ever on the weapons, anything I didn't go over is in my Soulforge extra video. That is a video I made especially for all the weapons and troops that are here all the time. Right, so Leio does this lion roar. He kind of meows a bit really. Deals magic based damage to an enemy and gains the same amount of armor, both boosted by all enemy magic. So the more powerful the team, the more bigger and better that boost is, but really it's another one of these mythics that needs a magic boost himself to make him truly effective. Not that great. It's not like the traits particularly back him up. Is quite effective though. Reduced damage by spells by 25% and damage from skulls by 40%, but is that enough to offset that rather lame spell? I'm not sure. Not great. Consort of Darkness, an interesting troop this one. There's a magic +1 percentage chance to slay an enemy, and that's written in purple, that 41 now. That means it can be increased. And if the enemy dies, create 12 skulls, otherwise eliminate 10 from all their skills. Reduce damage from spells by 50% is a really good trait, and steal life from the first enemy when matching purple gems is okay. Can just finish somebody off sometimes if they're on low health, which is pretty decent. But yeah. If you can get that magic chance boosted to somewhere around the 70s, 80s, ideally 90s, then yeah, this is going to be a really good troop. And there is a way of doing that now with, like, you know, troops like the Enchantress, not Enchantress, the Empress and things like that. So there is ways to increase magic pretty easily now in teams. So can be effective in the right team in a very good way indeed. Hatire Scroll. Convert all green gems to lycanthropy gems and all yellow gems to doom skulls, and has a summon at the same time. In the right team, that can be really, really effective. You can see clearly if you're going to get that yellow gems to doom skulls. So I do like this troop in the right team. Very, very good indeed. And Impervious is a really nice trait to have. Flame of Anu. Magic-based damage to the first two enemies boosted by burning and fairy fire enemies. So that sounds like a terrible amount of damage at first, but it is boosted by burning and fairy fired enemies, and it does help its own spell by having that flaming mane at the bottom. Burn and fairy fire a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. So every time you do that, you're going to imply burn and fairy fire onto the enemy, which is going to help boost the spell, but it's still not great. It's only a ×5 ratio, and it's not like the other two traits are particularly great either. So yeah, but remember that Fairy Fire is going to increase the damage of that spell by 50%, so even if you got that to 60, that will become 90 to the first two enemies if they're Fairy Fired as well. So it looks bad at first, but I don't know. I've never used it really. It's just not that great. Who else have we got? That is the Mythics. Let's take a look at the Legendaries quick. I usually say don't craft the Legendaries. These will pop up in chests. You're much better off saving your valuable diamonds for the Mythics, which are way, way harder to get. So the first one is Uvashkar. Convert all purple gems to Doom Skulls. So you can see if you're going to get a match straight away before casting that. No randomness about that. And if there's an Eldritch minion on your team, create 3 more Doom Skulls. Then summon an Eldritch minion. So a summon and a conversion, yeah, can be pretty effective, that spell. Nothing too fantastic about the traits, but Impervious again is always nice. And the last one's a bit weird. Independent 25% chances to inflict curse or death mark on a random enemy and matching 4 or more gems. So you get a 4 match, then got a 24% chance on each troop to inflict curse or death mark. It's like, yeah, not very reliable on that kind of side of things. Nexus Portal. Creates 4 to 6 elemental stars and summons a random Nexus troop. Conjures an elemental storm when matching 4 or more gems is okay, but I'm just not a fan of these things that do this kind of thing without an extra turn of some sort. It's like, when they work, they're fantastic, but a lot of the time they're just going to set up the opposition at the same time. So, not a fan of them sort of things myself. Who else we got? Media. Damage to all, always good, magic based. Enchant all ally daemons and barrier all ally mystics. So in an all mystic team, something like that. Barrier is really good. Damage to all, really good for damaging stealthy opponents and stuff like that. So very usable troop indeed. All mystics gain 1 magic on 4 or 5 gem matches is pretty decent too. And she has a 25% chance to summon an ancient horror upon her death, which you don't really want, but it's there. Now we have this angry cactus. Magic based damage to the 2 weakest enemies, gain 10 life and attack. Not that great, because you're forced to attack the 2 weakest enemies, which is okay when you want to finish them off, but what if they're on like 1 life or something and it was just a explosion of the board to take out 1 random skull to finish them off? You got to wait to cast this for the best opportunity to make the most of it. But yeah, I do like little things like immunity devour. If you swallow that spiky cactus, you're going to be in trouble. Reflect 25% of skull damage is quite funny because it's spiky, so you hit that and you get some damage back. I do like the thought process that goes into some of these troops sometimes regarding what they are and what they do. But that is it. They are the legendaries. But who gets my super coveted Mythic of the Week? Well, we've got a little bit of a lame bunch to pick from here, haven't we? It can't be him. He's more of a cat than a lion. Flame of Anu. No. Hatan Scroll is okay. It does go really well with the Weir Stag. Can create a really good skull team like that. But simply for the case of there is so many ways to boost up the magic now and get that percentage chance to near super reliable level, you can guarantee yourself a kill. So yeah, out of this lame bunch we get this bloke that looks like he's just come back from some weird sex convention. The Consort of Darkness gets my slightly rubbish Mythic of the Week, but we got to pick someone. But there it is. There's a Soulforge video for this week. I'll be back later on with my world event team, so pop by for that in a bit if you fancy it. And why not bash that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. It really does help. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.